Have you ever lost someone that you loved? Well, what if you could bring them back? Shadow of the Colossus is an incredible title released by Team Ico just under 20 years ago. Shadow of the Colossus provided an unseen sense of scale and wonder, allowing the player to feel the same fear and terror of the main character due to the sheer size of these enemies. Shadow of the Colossus pushed what was expected of video games, joining the ranks of those early boundary-pushing titles from Sony. With the remake released in 2018, Shadow of the Colossus pushed itself into the new generation, enhancing an already incredible experience. It begins with you, Wanda, a young boy travelling across the wilderness to reach this desolate landscape, known only as the Forbidden Lands. Wanda enters this monolithic temple atop his horse, Agro, along with the body of a young girl named Mono. As he goes further into the temple, we see statues of beasts and monsters. Wanda dismounts, grabbing Mono's body and placing her atop a pedestal.
Was you hick? Aurel ye koron. Ikudu ibi kuka. Yulbzolu iondu. You little cock. I use yula cordoloya. Olik, olazulam, cause. Ilzozeri ku atzoko. Amnos crudu. Laomism wop. Was you a diulas also? View houses is view.
We are told that this place may have the possibility to bring people back from the dead, and that it is forbidden to enter upon these lands. The mission is as clear as day. Wanda wishes to revive his lover. As strange shadowy beings emerge from the ground, Wanda swiftly vanquishes them with his blade. A light opens up atop the temple and a voice can be heard.
You Colossus, you dream. I will think you own you.
Dormi, ifo, alu yula. Oshtu hailwa wuku aikwa. Ujisu hiazu tsudoko. Was Nordekyo Wutira.
I will answer you. I will be you item.
The voice is named Dormin, a seemingly collective, godlike being possibly capable of reviving the dead. It's revealed that the girl was killed for her supposedly cursed fate. Is it really a good idea to revive her? Dormin asks but one thing of Wanda: to vanquish the colossi that roam these lands, destroying the idols that sit within the temples as he does so. Wanda accepts and is told that he may pay a heavy price, but he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. And from there, the game begins. You're told to hold your sword to the light in order to track down each Colossus, and before we start, just do yourself a favour if you're playing this game, change those controls over to mod and remapped. It'll make the game feel just a little bit more bearable in the controls. As Wanda heads over to the first Colossus, you're faced with this game's biggest issue, which is the controls. For as much as I love this game, the controls are a piece of shit. The buttons don't feel natural, even on these modern remap control schemes. The camera... Agro feels like he hates you. Wanda feels like he hates you. But it's a forgivable evil for the satisfaction you'll feel when everything works in tandem. Valus is the first Colossus you'll face on your journey, finding him stomping around his habitat, wielding an enormous stone pillar. Valus works to teach the player how the game's going to go. You'll find him, climb him, And as he falls down, this melancholic melody plays. You watch the life drain from the creature as it crashes onto the ground, becoming enveloped in black mist, tendrils shooting out. Wanda falls down and we see this strange portal-like image with voices and whispers. Awaking in the temple, we see that Mono looks a little more alive, encouraging us to vanquish our next foe. Quadratus, likely given the name because he's got 4 legs, has this ram-like appearance, bashing out of the walls that confine him. He comes barreling in and raises his front hooves at us. Oh, what's that on your feet? No! Nice. From here, it's pretty self-explanatory what to do. But wait. The sigil moves? From here on out, the sigils atop the Colossi are gonna move. You're gonna have to manage your stamina more effectively. The next sigil is on his head, so you've gotta climb your way over there and finally vanquish the enemy. And as you awake, you see one more shadowy figure stood by Wanda. As you walk over to find Gaius, you're likely to stumble across the items in the Forbidden Land, like the fruit trees, which can increase your health. You'll also encounter some lizards, which increase your stamina. As you enter into the domain of Gaius, you see a circular pedestal surrounded by water. You get into the water, and you can't help but to ask, is he here, watching me from underneath? Gaius is one of my favourite designs for a Colossus. The pieces of rubble that make his face and hands feel uncomfortable and sort of torturous, like he's more evil than the rest. He also seems to attack more than the rest, offering us our first real challenge. Shit. I see. No! Okay. Fuck my life. Fuck you. Come on! You know you want to hurt me, man. Oh, shit. Come on! Yeah, dickhead, be pissed off. No! Come on, throw me the sword down again. Oh, bastard. That took a lot of health from me. I actually can't remember how to beat you, man. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh fuck. No, I remember. No! No! How did I get him to fall over? He fell off. Wait a minute. I remember. No! Mate, you do all this now. Just wait until you fall over. No! No! Shut up! I hate this game. I actually hate this game. This video is gonna be like the video is gonna be 3 hours of me saying how much I hate this game. You are a cunt. Come on. No! Please! You want to kill me! You want me dead so bad! Stomp on me! No, come on. I've been filming for 13 minutes! No. Take another step. Shut up, Dorman. You are actually a dickhead, mate. If Dorman, I'm gonna crash out, mate. And just imagine if you had both feet on here. How cool would that be, hey? Not take me this long. You genuinely should not take me this long. Like, there's something categorically wrong with me. Okay. What? I've been doing it wrong this entire time. I'm gonna have to do the old Michael trick. Shut up! Okay. Maybe the Michael trick ain't the way forward. That was the Michael trick! That was the Michael trick the whole time! That was the whole time! Let's go! You killed me once before, and I will not make the same mistakes. No. I said I wouldn't do this. I said no. Oh my god. I told you I won't make the same mistakes. Okay, some stamina back. Get my stamina back. No! Stop whistling for your fucking horse! His ass is not coming. Look, guys. You dicked me all up and down. I've been fighting you for like a good half an hour now. I could have made dinner in that half an hour. Oh no. No, please. Is it down here? I feel like it's down here. Yeah, it is. Alright. Can't shake me off here, can you, mate? After defeating Gaius, we'll end up back in the temple, surrounded by 3 more shadowy figures. I forgot to mention before, but after Valis, you'll be introduced to these worship totems, which can be prayed at by Wanda to heal all of his health. Phaedra is the 4th Colossus. You'll find it in this weird valley, alone. The environment here feels very natural, evoking a somewhat peaceful feeling, conveying the idea that this Colossus isn't necessarily a brutish villain, just a large, peaceful creature. The design of Phaedra doesn't feel like one specific animal either, more like a collection of different beasts. It feels somewhat like a giraffe or a horse, but it has this weird exposed ribcage and dangly ear-like protrusions from its head. The fight with Phaedra is fairly simple, but it's more about knowing if it's done what you need it to do. To beat Phaedra, you'll run into this little mound and wait until the beast goes to look for you, and while it's looking, grab onto its back and destroy it. As you venture into the lands in search of the 5th Colossus, you'll find this strange place. Seemingly the rubble of an old flooded building, the Gothic-style architecture pushes out the water, oppressive and uninviting. But alas, you must push on. As you enter its domain, you'll see above you our next Colossus, Avian. Avian is your introduction to the terrifying fact that these colossi are not just beasts of the land, they are beasts of the sky too. Wanda swims slowly, and you'll feel vulnerable, like you're just ripe for the pickings here, as Avian watches you from his little tower. Once provoked, Avian will come swooping at you, so you'll have to grasp onto its wing as it passes you. Once you're on its wing, you're left completely vulnerable, at the whims of this gigantic creature. If you fall, you die. Avian crashes its body around, trying its absolute best to smash you off of its back. The sounds and visuals here are incredible. There is a true sense of motion and scale. You feel completely at the whim of this beast. As you take out its weak spots, travelling all over its body, he'll eventually crash down into the water as Wanda falls down. Barber is the sixth Colossus you'll face, traversing from the forest to this vast open desert. It's windy, desolate, and lifeless. As Wanda makes its way through the desert, you'll encounter this abandoned temple-like entrance. Walking through it, it seems like this place was some sort of temple of prayer, with a huge open rectangle in the middle. As you traverse down, you hear these eerie noises. You're clearly not alone here. As Barber finds you, the sheer scale of his hands is intimidating. You're best to run away. And as you run, you'll find a covering. He seemingly can't get you here. Barber destroys everything in his path, and eventually will lean down to look at you, subtly showing his brutish size. Barber's huge beard shows his possible age, hinting that he's been here for much longer than everyone else. As he leans down, you grab onto his beard and climb up to his head. Eventually vanquishing the foe. Thalassophobia, an intense fear of deep bodies of water, such as oceans, seas, or lakes. Our next Colossus will lead us to a lake, with a giant tower in the middle. Going over to the tower, it's likely you'll head to the top, and as you stand there, the water beneath you is somewhat haunting. What's in there? What's waiting for you? From here, you'll either walk down, or... A beast beneath the depths swims around. A giant eel-like monster lurking beneath the depths. This Colossus will drag you under the water, flaunting the fact that we don't belong in his domain. That this is his arena. As you get further and further up the Colossus, you'll take out the electric spikes along its back, slowly reaching towards its head. As you slaughter the beast, unlike the others, it seems like it writhes in pain a lot more, its long body crashing around in anguish. It eventually dies, and we end up back in the temple. If you wanted to find the 8th Colossus, you'll encounter this mysterious cave. As you go through the cave, it becomes a somewhat beautiful place filled with greenery and life. Venturing through even further, you'll encounter a beautiful oasis. Whatever Colossus is here, I'm sure it's happy. Entering an old dingy building, you go further and further. Encountering a staircase. Going down the staircase, you'll encounter the 8th Colossus. Kuramori isn't very colossal. It's a lot smaller than the enemies we've encountered beforehand. But guys, remember, size doesn't matter. Kuramori fires these energy beams at you. So to defeat him, you've got to go back up the stairs, shoot his legs, and get back down and slaughter this foul beast. As Kuramori dies and we enter that peculiar portal once again, we'll see Mono alive? The strange filter over the scene hints that we're getting closer, or does it simply show a Wanda slipping into a delusion? Is it Dorman tricking us, or is it simply just a vision of the future? As Wanda awakes, he seems much more worn down, collecting himself and going right for the next Colossus. Venturing over to the next Colossus, you'll enter a desolate landscape. The grass lacks any strong greens and feels worn and torn by the forbidden lands. You enter into a dry riverbed, caked in thick fog. The next Colossus could be anywhere. Is it hiding somewhere? Waiting for you? Bassaran is the 9th Colossus, a tortoise-like beast crashing around this empty hellscape. Bassaran's size doesn't come from its height, but its width. You almost feel like you could live atop its back. Maybe in a perfect world, these colossi could live among us. Bassaran, however, seems pretty unhappy to see you, striking at you with these orange beams. To take down Bassaran, you've got to goad him into walking over these geysers, and once he does so, he's vulnerable to an attack to the feet. You'll get him down, climb his belly, and get to his back. Make your way to his head, and finish the job. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. Our next opponent resides in a cave sat beneath a floor of sand. Dirge is a terrifying beast. He slides around, attempting to take you down, peeking his wretched head out from beneath the sand. Now, you've got to run around on aggro, driving him furious. And as he rears his ugly mug out of the sand, you just shoot him directly into the eye. From here, he'll lose his footing, allowing you to take a jab. On the journey to Colossus, you'll be led into the desert, unless you're me and you end up taking a wrong turn. I ended up finding this waterfall and of course tried to cross it. I of course eventually realised entirely on my own that I was going the wrong way, and eventually encountered the 11th Colossus, Celosia. Celosia is another smaller Colossus, much smaller than Kuramuri however. Celosia is an annoying fuck, but he's a major pussy. You've got to grab a stick of fire from up here and slowly push him back, but careful not to get too close. Once you get him to the edge, he'll fall off like a fucking idiot. Revealing his weak spot. Jumping down, you'll grasp onto his back and ride atop of him. Celosia works a lot like a bull, sort of like one of those rides where you've got to try not get bucked off. Eventually, this fuckhead bull falls victim to your blade, and you'll finally vanquish the 11th Colossus. Wandering back round to the waterfall and heading upstream instead of across, you find yourself in this wide open lake with these strange monuments surrounding you. Swimming over, there's an overwhelming sense of vulnerability. Where will this beast come from? What if it can already see you? As you make it to this little island, a monolithic beast awaits. Pelagia is the 12th Colossus, and his battle involves dodging these thunderous attacks whilst trying to prank him into revealing his weak spot.
Come on, you are thirsty.
Eventually, you get yourself onto his head, and from here, you naturally attack these weird teeth atop his skull.
I'm like a dentist. I don't really know what I'm doing there. Oh wait, I'm steering him!
The teeth work like a control panel. Hitting the left one moves him left, and the right makes him move right. You've got to bring him over to the top half of these weird structures.
Left again. Straight on.
No! Goading him into revealing his stomach, and from here,
Oh!
you jump on.
I'm sorry, man. This is just how it has to go. Bye.
In the weird portal, we can hear more breathing from Mono. The plan's clearly working. We're nearly there. Before we awaken, however, we get a cutscene of the men from the village coming to the Forbidden Lands. The men head further towards the Forbidden Lands, motivating us to finish the journey before they get here. They can't get in the way of our noble quest. Heading back out towards the desert, you feel that urgency growing. Knowing these men from your village can come and ruin everything, it feels real. And Wander is looking extremely worse by now. His skin much greyer now than it was beforehand. Mono needs us to finish what we started. It's too far gone now to give up. Screeching to a halt, you'll encounter our 13th Colossus. Phalanx is a majestic creature, the longest Colossus of them all. Phalanx's long, streamlined body floats throughout the air. No attacks, no evasion. Just simply living peacefully above us, but you know what you have to do. Shooting at these weird air sacs forces Phalanx to drop lower down, allowing Wander to grab onto their fins. Climbing atop the creature, Phalanx will take you high into the air. The wind blasting us, it's truly a sight to behold. Phalanx launches no projectiles or makes no real attempt to harm us. They just wish to get us off. Phalanx wishes to protect itself, and eventually, you'll vanquish this creature. And it falls down. Phalanx is a rare case in this game where the creature did nothing to us, but in the pursuit of our mission, Phalanx is just another obstacle. The next Colossus is interesting, I guess. Dorman informs us that Zenobia lives in an old city, further enlightening us on the life that used to reside in the Forbidden Lands, before whatever happened. Encountering Zenobia, it's posted up like some sort of statue. Running at us, it seems eerily familiar to Celosia, and with a name like Zenobia, you do the math. Zenobia does the exact same slamming attack as its counterpart. As you climb atop these towers, Zenobia slowly pushes them down one by one, allowing us to get to a point where we can crush its armor. This weird sort of parkour level in the game I think really allows Zenobia to feel separate from everything else. You know, the smaller Colossus doesn't necessarily mean that it's worse, it's just different type of gameplay. You're not climbing the Colossus, you're doing jump from jump, timing it right to not get killed. Zenobia seems to act a lot like some sort of bulldog, releasing this sort of dog-like sound. And eventually, you get onto its back, stab into its flesh, and vanquish this foe. On the way to the next Colossus, you'll encounter this old vacant temple, a long staircase devoid of those who may have stepped atop it at one point. The steps lead you to this empty plain, possibly once a bustling marketplace. Argus has this gorilla-like form. With this angry, brooding face, he looks constantly unhappy, like he's cursed with eternal anger. To take out Argus, you'll have to have him stomp onto these weird stone platforms, pushing them upward, allowing you to climb to the next story. From here, it's a similar tactic, having him smash his weapon into the wall again, forcing some of the stone atop the wall to fall down. This creates a way up for us. Once making it to the top, you'll see two bridges on each side. And of course, I instinctively went to the bridge and waited for him to get close, and so back up I went, and instead of waiting, I jumped right onto his fat fucking head. And you'll find his weak spot, stabbing him, and eventually he doesn't die. Argus has another weak spot, but the game pranks you into feeling like you've done it in one. You'll have to find your way into his hand and destroy that final weak spot. Finally removing our second to last Colossus. In the portal, we'll hear Mono's voice, clearer than it ever has been. And once we awaken the temple, Dorman provides some words of encouragement. But then seemingly refers to the next Colossus as someone. Making our way to the next Colossus, you'll encounter this mysterious door. which requires Wanda to shine his light into its centre. The door opens and we ride into the arena. And on the way, we'll cross this bridge. Now, without a horse, we are forced to make our way to the next beast alone in the rain. The pathetic fallacy here reinforcing how dire this situation really is. Wanda's path has brought nothing but death and destruction. Maybe Agro's death is somewhat a part of a natural balance, but we've not been kind to the inhabitants of the Forbidden Lands. Making our way to the top, you'll finally get to see the last enemy. Malice's design is inherently human. His hands and face make him feel human, like a giant trapped behind this gothic armour. It's easy to feel afraid and intimidated here. But then you remember, he's all that stands in the way now. After Malice dies, we don't get any scenes at the portal. It truly feels like it's over now, like this quest has come to its natural end. The men from the village rush in, Lord Emon donning his mask and entering the temple. The men witness the final totem falling apart, with Emon being filled with dread at the sight of him. Why on earth is it so bad? Surely now we've brought Mono lies there, still on the altar. It hasn't worked. we see Wanda, unconscious on the ground, his hand appearing grey, being lifted upwards and transported back into the temple. As Iman seems to pray over Mono's body, he turns to see Wanda behind him. Wanda now looks completely different, his skin grey, horns on his head and his eyes now appearing similar to that of the Colossi. Iman scolds him, sending his men to go and put Wanda down. He tells Wanda that he was only being used, that he's possessed by the dead. Wanda bursts out with the same black stuff like the Colossi when stabbed, now able to withstand such an attack. It's clear from this that Wanda is not human. However, it's also pretty clear that he's still there, as even in his weakest moments, he reaches out for Mono. Pulling the blade out of himself, falling to the ground, dead. As Wanda's body begins to grow into this colossal beast, we learn what happened to Dormin. That their body was split into the Colossi, that Dormin has to now borrow Wanda's body just to survive. The souls of the dead running into Dormin. Iman wishes to seal this place away. Here we get to play as Dormin, attacking those smaller than us. The regular people are now completely tiny, the roles are now reversed, and as you play as Dormin, screams can be heard, and seemingly they're the screams of Wanda. In severe pain and anguish at what he's become, accepting that maybe he lost. Iman and the rest of the men from the village rush out of the temple, with Iman wielding the blade and casting it into the altar below. Creating this bright white seal. Dormin clamours to hold on, being dragged by the light. We see Mono. Wanda is clearly still here, begging to hold on. And eventually, we go back to playing as Wanda, now caked in shadow. And we're forced to try and fight against this unstoppable force pushing us backwards, holding on to whatever we can. Desperately trying to avoid our fate. But eventually, your stamina's going to run out, and you're forced to accept it. As Wanda falls into the seal, the Forbidden Land is sealed away for good. With the bridge being destroyed this time, Wanda, Mono, and Agro will now be trapped here, to be forgotten by time. 3 victims of the cruel hands of fate, or, for Wanda's case, a victim of not being able to accept fate. Mono lies still on the pedestal, alone, no Wanda there to comfort her. She's alive? Dormin wasn't lying, he'd made good on his deal. Dormin kind of works quite like a monkey's paw or a genie. He will grant your wish, just not how you'd like it granted. Mono stands alone. No Dormin, no Wanda, no Agro! Agro arrives, limping, broken, but at least Mono and him are together. The credits show each dead Colossi, the rubbled remains of what life once existed here in the Forbidden Lands. You're forced to really confront what you did. There is such little life here. Wanda slaughtered these creatures just for what? To not even see and experience the fruits of his labour? He and Mono simply traded places, a very unhappy end for all. Dormin and Wanda are really just cruel reflections of one another. Wanda has this selfish idea that slaughtering living, breathing creatures just for his own gain is valid. No matter how much of a romantic you are, I'm sure we can all agree that Wanda's actions are wrong and immoral. Murder is wrong. These creatures were murdered for selfish gain. Dormin tricks Wanda to selfishly gain his own body back. I don't know what end goal he had, but even so, they're clearly both sides of the same coin. The game uses its rather washed out and sad colour palette to great effect. The Forbidden Lands are vacant enough. There is a clear guilt in vanquishing what little life was left here. In the credits, we see Agro leading Mono somewhere, eventually leading her to find a baby, in that ritual pool area where Dormin was cast into. The baby is horned. Could it be Wanda? Could it be Dormin? Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I see this child as a last-ditch effort from Dormin to possibly live on. If he is mixed into this child using Wanda's corporeal form, maybe if it goes correctly through years and years of waiting, he may be able to return. The horns are a clear signifier that Dormin's energy, at the least, remains present in this child. He is likely attempting to cheat death, and plans to come back at a later point. Agro then leads Mono further upward, to this beautiful garden, filled with animals and water. Everything one might need to survive, everything one might need to raise a child. Now, after finishing Shadow of the Colossus, you'll be filled with tons and tons of questions. And for me, the two biggest questions were, what is Dormin, and what the hell happened here? Dormin is seemingly this godlike being who has dominion over light and dark, able to control the souls of the dead, even able to bring back those who have passed on. Dormin refers to itself as we, a collective. Dormin isn't a singular being, Dormin is this collection of something. It may possibly be this collection of dead souls, possibly starting off as a singular being but eventually gathering so many souls of the dead that Dormin became this ultra powerful collective being. Dormin backwards is Nimrod. And no, I'm not insulting you, Nimrod is actually the name of a biblical figure, the king of a land called Shinar. Nimrod is the key player in one of my favourite Bible stories, Genesis 28:11-19. Nimrod commissioned the construction of the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was constructed to reach the heavens, which God was not very happy about. In retaliation, God punished mankind by creating language, casting us out so we'll never be able to come together in the construction of something so sinful. Now, how does this relate to Dormin? For me, this story relates to Dormin through how humanity was punished. Dormin was separated into the Colossi, much like how humanity was separated into separate nations. The Colossi are hostile and furious. They could never work together. Dormin's collective was punished into never being able to interact ever again, so Dormin could never do whatever he may have done. To answer the second question, I have my own theory as to what happened here. If we look at the temple, the altar where Mono was placed seems conveniently human body size. Was this entire temple built in order to revive the dead? No. I like to think it goes something a little bit like this. Long ago, Dormin was this mysterious god that the people of this once thriving land worshipped, constructing their world and cities around him, which is why everything has its architectural style, similar to how places like the Vatican keep their buildings all similar in architecture. I think Dormin did all of this in order to attempt to gain a corporeal form. Dormin may have ordered the construction of this temple, a place of worship designed to allow his power to channel throughout. The altar was a key player in his plan, possibly tricking a member of the village into placing a dying body onto the altar, which allowed Dormin to take the body, as when Dormin takes over Wanda's body, he talks about how he borrows it. Moreover, Dormin couldn't fully take over until Wanda was mortally wounded, until his soul was trapped between the realm of life and death. I believe that Dormin then took over this dying body, but was later defeated and had his consciousness split into the 16 Colossi, which then led to the desolation of the Forbidden Lands for generations. I'm sure there's still another big question on your mind. What does this whole thing even mean anyway? I interpret the story of Shadow of the Colossus as a warning about not willing to accept fate, not willing to accept reality. Wanda refuses to accept Mono's death, leading to his own demise at the hands of an evil being. I'm sure you've all lost someone you love. and I know it's hard, and I know you can often feel like you do anything to bring them back, but we all know that's not how it goes. Back to the question that I started this video with. Have you ever lost someone that you loved? Well, what if you could bring them back? Wanda's story shows the dangers of that refusal to let things be, a cautionary tale in what happens when you refuse to acknowledge the finality of death. Wanda ignores the forbiddenness of this place and this magic for his own desire. He kills these Colossi, destroys himself, and for what? Mono is back, sure, but she is far worse off than she ever would have been dead. Her life will be spent alone in the Forbidden Lands, unable to return home for a long, long time, especially with the burden of a child. Wanda becoming possessed by evil spirits and becoming this beast is a representation of what happens to us when we refuse to accept death. It's self-destructive. To refuse to accept death is almost to refuse to accept life. If one cannot accept the natural cycle of life, then one simply cannot live. Killing the Colossi could possibly represent how that refusal to accept can harm others. When you refuse to help yourself and accept things, you'll fall apart. Shadow of the Colossus does this incredible thing where it tricks you. Their triumphant music and incredible visuals make you feel empowered in your quest. Climbing atop these beasts, going through these insane trials and tribulations, all helps make you feel empowered every time you win. Ignoring these obviously tragic scenes where the Colossi die. It's incredible. I adore the way the game pulls the rug out from under you. You finish it and you go, wait, was that the bad guy? In conclusion, Shadow of the Colossus is a fantastic video game that works not to just empower you, but to fool you. You'll spend its entire short run time feeling like a real fucking hero, but in the end, you're presented with a cold hard truth. You are not the hero. I just want to say, guys, thank you very much for watching this. It really does mean a lot. I wanted to say thank you as well for the overwhelming level of support and attention on that Silent Hill 2 video. That was genuinely completely unexpected, and I'm really happy about that. I want to start making videos every 2 weeks, but I go to film school and I'm directing a movie in about 3 weeks from now, so I can't necessarily promise that I'm going to be getting, 2 weeks on the dot, but more or less every 2 weeks expect something. I'm thinking of maybe looking at Metal Gear, but if you guys have any ideas what you want to see me talk about, please comment down below. I would love to talk about games and movies and whatever. I think it's fascinating and I'm really loving this. I just really want to say thank you for that support on the Shadow of the Colossus video and all the new people that have subscribed to this channel. It genuinely means so much to me. Much love, have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.